All right, 6 points to Marie for that shimmy.
Yay! Shimmy,
Shimmy all day,
shimmy
DC.
points. 6 shimmy points.
I will use it sparingly.
Lucky.
Welcome back to Balderdash Academy. We have visiting professor, playwright, actor, director DC Cathro, and 4 questions plus the answer to give me the details. What technique, what tactic did a person use to win $4 million in the lottery? How'd he pick his numbers? Before we get there, we have this.
Balderdash Academy, competitive comedy. Good for your health like a yearly colonoscopy. Bring a flask, don't forget your hall pass. If you need a laugh, let me introduce the school staff. Marie Stewart Harmon teaches home economics. See her after class for some home brewed tonics. Sex with me is like Nate Green, cause finishing on top is his normal routine. Coach Steve brings the show sports knowledge, but he's bad at portmanteaus cause he didn't go to college. Paulie McGill spits words like an Uzi. She wins every game but can't name a single movie. They call him Brady Hunt, the theater guru. He'll always almost win like deja vu do. Carla Rose Dubois, you better watch your back. She's notoriously known for teaching music facts. And Baba Blanc gets no disrespect. Don't talk back, cause he's technically correct. Yes, let's go. Balderdash Academy, baby. Alright, sit down, class is starting.
Balderdash Academy.
The question I always get, where did she get the duck?
I got a
Our own duck.
Welcome back to Balderdash Academy. Our points are in last place, we have Marie with 6 points. Next, we have Randy with 8, Nate with 37, and Molly in the lead with 47 points.
As per usual.
As per usual. All right. So, before we move on to our first game, 4 questions, DC, we're going to spin the Balderdash randomizer and ask you a random question that you have 30 seconds or less to answer. Now, these questions were written by our intern, Alan, so you can blame him. Our first question...
Sweet.
All right, question number 8, DC. What is your favorite board game and why?
My favorite board game is Settlers of Catan because it's a classic, and the mechanics of it are fascinating, and the way you have to like bend your strategy throughout the game.
Yep.
Like if you go all in on 2 numbers and they're not coming up, then you got to go for like the cards to try to ease your way or trade embargo on your opponents. And so, yeah, it's one that I always go back to and I super love.
Nice.
That's a great game. I love that game. All right,
That
good
was
answer.
30 seconds or less. Nice job.
So it's
Good
Catan.
answer. That was 30 seconds or less.
Catan.
Canton.
Settlers of Catan is great because you can
Settlers of
also
Catan.
freely say, I have wood for sheep at the table.
I have a t-shirt that says that. I should have worn it, but I wore my...
Yeah.
CC.
Named after
That's
you.
awesome. That's awesome. That'll be the title of this episode, Wood for Sheep. All right. So, DC, you're a collector of Atari, lunchboxes, board games, and my favorite toy growing up as a small child in the mid to late 70s, Fisher-Price's Little People. So tonight's 4 questions will be about everyone's favorite pegs turned playthings, Little People.
Okay.
So, whichever one of our faculty members gives the best, not the correct, but the best, you're not going to find the correct, but the best answer, DC will award points. Our first question. So Little People originally appeared as play figures in late 1965. However, the precursor to the toys first appeared in 1950 when Fisher-Price designed what new toy? So they first appeared on a new toy. Nate, what was that toy?
That was the guillotine. So that was, legit, like heavy. It was heavy because it had the little people were used as the props. And so the guillotine came down and the little people head fell off. And the reason they were pegs is because they can just, pop it right back in. It's not like a Barbie where you take the head off, you put it on, and then it's a bloated head. Like these worked really well. And then they just kind of took off on their own.
Yeah, Fisher Price's Viva la Revolution toy line was my favorite as a child. A lot of people don't know this, but the Fisher Price guillotine was remarketed in the 90s as Don't Lose Your Head. So, Marie, what toy did little people appear on?
Of course, we're in the 1950s, right? There's a lot of like weird family dynamics that are occurring, and Fisher Price really started to just embrace it. So they had a little vacuum cleaner where there was a little lady with pearls and a cigarette hanging out of her mouth that was vacuuming. This was the sole job of this one little person, was to be the mom and vacuum and chain smoke in her pearls.
All right. So
sounds like a good
It
Sunday.
might get us a copyright strike. But along that line, I have a 1952 advertisement, 1950s ad rather, with Fred Flintstone and Barney selling Winston cigarettes.
Yep.
Yeah, they were smokers. They quit though soon after. Dino
That's
gave
true.
them a big talking to.
Good talking to.
Dino?
Yeah, Barney Winston tastes good like a cigarette should.
Randy,
Dino?
what toy did it premiere in?
I don't know. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but you remember the little thing with the stick with the ball, and you had to like try to catch the ball on the side of the. You know what I'm talking about?
Ball in a cup.
Out here, Randy.
Yeah,
Ball in a cup.
Ball and cup is the name.
Yeah. It's a tricky name. But I believe the guy who invented Pez also invented like this alternate version of the ball and cup, and it was the little people and their head kind of popped open, and then the head would attach to the string, and it was trying to catch the head on in the cup. So it's the head
fun.
cup, not the ball and cup.
Yeah.
You keep Pez. You like Pez. You keep. My brain wants to ask you more trivia questions about something not related. Molly, what did it premiere on?
Well, Marie was in the right direction when she was speaking about the 1950s and weird family dynamics. Now, we all know that a lot of women were getting opinions around that time, so they were obviously hysterical. So they needed to be sent off to insane asylums. And so the first thing that little people appeared in was Arkham Insane Asylum, to try to explain to children where their mommies went. And so it gave them kind of like a relationship to build with their mom, but then they got sued because Arkham was obviously a DC term. So then, of course, it just was Little People Asylum.
So, little people appeared as play figures in the late 1965. In 1950, when they first appeared, they were part of what toy? We have Nate, Guillotine, Marie, Little Vacuum with Ladies and Pearls, Randy, a ball and cup, and Molly, Arkham Asylum's teaching toy, which made sense.
Okay.
Yeah, DC, how would you like to score?
Okay, Molly, you get 8 points for dropping my name in there, not without meaning to. Randy, I would totally play with that toy. So you get 78 points.
Yeah.
Wow.
78 points.
Nate, you traumatized me with the guillotine. So I'm subtracting 9 points.
First
9
seems reasonable.
points. Although I guess, you know what? You can have 3 of them back. So I'll take that. I'll take 6 points off. Because Randy has a detachable head too. But you put it back on. The action is not cutting it off. So I'll cut you a little bit of slack for that. Marie, you can have 3 points just for being for acting out the sexy mom with the pearls.
Yes, come on, kids, it's dinner time.
Yeah, Nate with the Fisher Price guillotine. Some
Bob, you can have
disassembly
6
required.
points for being charming.
Yeah,
Molly has 6.
Charming Bob and his
Oh, I did.
point
All
meter.
right, cool.
You're in the game.
All right, I am now on the board. Great, that's
Now,
cool.
in my defense, I did think it through though, because France was using the guillotine up until, I don't know, when was the last time it was used, like the 60s, 70s?
1977, same year Star Wars was released.
Yes. Yeah. So
Holy.
That
it was
was,
still
they
in
used it until then.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not
Holy
know that.
Crap.
You
Yeah.
learn something new every time you watch Balderdash Academy.
I only used it on my little people.
The real
His children are
answer is what new toy were they a part of? They were 3 firefighters on a Fisher Price fire engine. They were non-removable. It took them a while to figure out that the kids would like to play with them. In fact,
And swallow them.
So they were basically Waldorf and Sattler, or whatever his name is from the Muppets. They're just like bolted in there. I can't move.
well, it's hard to move when you have a hand up your ass. Now, another fun fact about Arkham Asylum, about Molly's answer, is Arkham Asylum was actually based on Danvers State, which is a mental hospital. You can see it if you're driving down 95 right outside of Saugus, heading north. The creepy-looking Victorian huge building up on the hill is Arkham Asylum. That's what it's based on. And they used to send women to Arkham, to Danvers, for offenses
Having
such
ideas and
as
speaking their mind and
reading
wanting to have a
novels.
job.
reading novels,
If
wanting
they
to
vacuum
go somewhere
without
by
their
themselves.
pearls.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. So, according to 80skids.com, the toys were not always called Little People. In fact, that was the name given to the toy by the kids who played with them. The original name of the toy was what? Marie, what was the original name of Fisher-Price's Little People?
Yes, I definitely know the original name of the little people that Fisher Price gave them. It was the Tiny Tots. They were just really small. However, there were fast food industries that were selling tots, like potato tots. So unfortunately, there was a disagreement. There was a not seeing eye to eye there. You don't want to infer like that these little people could be ingested. We do not want to send that message to children. So they removed it from Tiny Tots to Little People so that it was less inspiring to eat them.
Enticing.
So,
Enticing.
less
That's the word. Thank you,
potato
Molly.
goodness and more micro-cannibalism.
Correct.
All right. Randy, what was the original name for Little People?
Yeah, when they originally created them, I believe they had the cubes for heads instead of orbs, and so they called them blockheads. But Charles Schultz did not like that.
No.
Because that was kind of a trademark thing for Charlie Brown. And so they were worried about a lawsuit, so they just kind of had to take a step back, and they just were like, whatever, Little People.
All right. Yeah. Not a blockhead, but a little person.
Yeah.
I stepped on them. I'm glad they're not blockheads. Molly? What was the
Speaking of a
original name?
lawsuit, they were originally called Eeny Peenies. Yeah, that's right, Eeny Peenies. But there was a riff between the CEO of Fisher Price and the developers. And so he took it as a personal affront that they were suggesting something, if you know what I mean. And so he shut that down and he made them rename them. So they just went with Little People. But behind the scenes, they all call them little Eeny Peenies.
You never
All right.
want to mess with a guy with too big a head.
Billy can't come out to play right now. He's in the living room playing with his Eeny Peeny.
Exactamundo.
That works. Nate, what do they call them?
So, I mean, everybody knows that it started out with firefighters. So it started with firefighters.
Yeah.
Then they came out with police officers. They came out with construction workers. They came out with naval officers. And they just called them little village people. And what can I say? It just didn't take off.
They were a gateway recruiting toy for the Navy, right? All right.
Yeah.
So, what was the original name of the toys? We have Marie with Tiny Tots, Randy with Blockheads, Molly with Eeny Peeny, Nate with the Village People. DC, how would you like to score?
Okay, you know what? Everybody's getting points for this, and I have lots of reasons why. So,
Right.
okay. So, first off, Randy, I thought you were going to pull it out with the Charles Schultz reference because I'm a big old Peanuts fan too. But I'm going to give you 47. You get 47 points.
47.
Okay. Eeny Peenies made me laugh. So you could have 38 points for that. 27 points to Marie because I'm hungry and now I'm dying for some tater tots. Let me tell you a story.
Yeah, right?
Agreed.
But Nate, so here's the story. We actually have a little set in My Little People that my husband set up of the 5 village people, and he calls them the little village people, and they're all sitting there together. And I will show you on a break because
Can you please
it's
send us a photo of
hilarious.
that?
I will totally do that. Yes,
I'm so
happily.
excited.
So
In the cupboard, they are on display for you. In the cupboard.
You get 101 points.
Woo!
Yeah.
101.
That's exactly how many Dalmatians I have, too.
Go figure.
Are you gonna skin them? Are you gonna skin them? Wait. Hold on.
I'm not going to continue to do that, no.
Okay, minus 19.
Minus 19.
I always tell my kids, try it before you knock it, so.
There you go. It's like dating. So, so we kids, there we go. There was the grenade. Marie caught it. So
I have a cackle.
So the toys were not originally called Little People. We, the kids who played with them, referred to them as Little People. I didn't actually know they had another name until I was researching this question. They were actually called the Fisher-Price Play Family. In fact, Fisher-Price did not trademark Little People until 1985. 26 years after the first detachable characters were made. So, so the Little People's iconic wooden body and head shape was changed in 1986 due to what? So why did their iconic body and head shape, the peg with the sphere, why did they change the shape? Randy?
Well, to reiterate,
I know.
Per my last email.
Something in Washington, D.C., that's my answer.
You must write for major news networks. That's about as comprehensive. All right, Molly.
Wow.
Why did they change their shape?
They changed the shape because the silhouette didn't look quite right when the sun was hitting it in the wee hours before nap time, and it was just too startling to the kids and it gave them nightmares. Looked like goblins.
So it looked like an eeny weeny.
It did, and that was not okay.
All right, looked like an eeny peeny. There you go. Nate, why did they change their shape?
They changed the shape because of choking hazards. They were just way too big before, so they shrunk them down, and they were much easier to choke on.
And Marie, why'd they change?
Well, we all remember that the first Lego fit person was the mother vacuuming. It was the moms again. The moms had some real issues with the size of these little Fisher-Price Play family people. So mums, there were mums against little people. Mums against little people. Yeah, and they petitioned. They had like 1,000 signatures. They got it sent to the Fisher-Price headquarters, and they were the ones that said, we can't have them this shape anymore. You need to adapt to the new world.
All right.
I know,
that
right?
makes sense. So
What a bitch.
Changed in 1986. Why did they change? We have Randy, Blockheads, Washington, something else to do with something. We have Molly, the silhouette didn't look quite right. We have Nate, choking hazard. They were too big. They had to make them smaller. And we have Marie, mom issues or MILFs. for Malps.
Just for mouths.
Malps for mouths.
Mums against little people, Malp.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. DC, how would you like to score?
All right, so Randy, nice try. Marie,
You gotta slap on the
what
back.
it boils down to is size matters. So I'm going to give you 57 points.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nate, you're almost right. So I'm going to give you 8 points.
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Of course he knows.
And I guess, Molly, since we revisited the Eenie Beanie Weenie, and it still makes me laugh, you can have 12 points.
Okay, I'll take those 12. Thank you very
12
much.
points. All right. So, as DC alluded to, there was a book that came out called Toys That Kill. In fact, the cover of the book had 3 little people on it, and they were recalled due to they were forced to be changed due to choking hazard. Now, as somebody who is absolutely brutal with their little people, I can tell you that they were a choking hazard if you knew how to work hydraulic machinery needed to get the friggin' head off the body. Like, they were a choking hazard if they were severely destroyed, right? So physically dismantled. Which is kind of true for all... Yeah, it's kind of true for all toys, though, or everything, right? Like, my car is a choking hazard if physically dismantled, right?
Sure.
I've choked on my own spit before.
Yeah.
I'm a choking hazard.
I've choked on Nate's spit, too, actually.
Yeah, that was fun.
Choking hazard's also the name I dance under. Moving on to the next question. So, play sets were key to the little people's success. Sets featured a house, airport, parking garage, farm, the houseboat, which was my favorite, licenses such as Sesame Street. In all of these sets, what was the one prime selling point that Fisher-Price used to market their toys? So what was the one feature that Fisher-Price liked to push with their little people? Molly, what's the feature? You're in marketing, you're in advertising.
Yeah.
What is the feature that they pushed?
That they could all sit on a toilet. That they all had a can. Farm has a can. Office has a can.
2 cans.
Yeah, 2 cans. Hold back. Yeah, that's where I'm going to leave that one. Right.
Okay,
down
little
the
people
drain.
potty training. That works. Yeah, Nate. What was the one feature that they would always push?
Well, I mean, these things could get lost really easily. So what they did to fix that is they painted them with lead paint, so that way metal detectors could pick them up. So that way it was really easy to you just get out the metal detector and you found them. Yeah, I don't know why that didn't pan out.
The fact that in the news this week it came out that most Americans' IQ were blunted due to lead paint. That is at least on theme. All right, Marie.
Yes,
Yay.
of course. Well, at the same time that this marketing push was happening, Crayola was pushing scratch and sniff markers. There were the markers you draw with pink, and it would smell like roses, and so people would sniff it, and it would be delightful. So Fisher-Price decided to make all of their little people scratch and sniff as well. So you could sniff a farm person, and it would smell like a farm. You would scratch a fire person and it would smell like a fire truck or maybe burning house. So it was the scratch and sniff aspect of the little people that was across their entire brand. All of their little people could be sniffed.
Smell my fisherman.
Oh, the fisherman, you can guess what that smelled like.
What's fun is little people were consisted of a wooden ball on a hollow dowel that you couldn't clean. So scratch and sniff brought up some interesting flavors, Randy. Randy, what was their big feature?
Their big feature was that, and this was an idea that was later used by Coca-Cola in the last few years, where they would put the people's names on the bottles. So there was actually names on the bottom of all the little people. And in order to encourage kids to keep trying to find their name, they had different names on all of them. And they just sold, like probably 10 times the number because of it. Because everybody was just like, where is the Anna? Where is the Tyler?
Where's Siobhan?
Right.
Never have Siobhan.
Never Siobhan.
Ever. Spelt with a B.
Cabbage Patch Kids tried to do the same thing in the 80s, but it only worked if your name was Xavier Roberts. So,
I get that joke.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody does. All right. So their one prime selling point, we had Molly. They all sat on the toilet, little potty. We have Nate painted with lead paint, so you could find him with a metal detector. Marie, scratch and sniff little people. And Randy with the names on the bottom. DC, how would you like to score?
Hey, Randy, I love that idea, and I would have bought hundreds of them looking for my name when I was a kid. So 52 points. Nate, you get 8 points for shouting out back to Toucan.
Yes. Yes.
Plus, you could have another 46 points because I like you. Marie, wait. Yeah, scratch and sniff. You know what? It's fun and disturbing. So 72 points.
Great, thank you.
And
it is disturbing.
Molly, you can, let's go with 26.
I'll take it. Thanks.
26.
Yeah, 26.
So what was the big selling point? Well, it wasn't the fact that all of the play sets were self-contained, which they were. Each play set was its own carrying case. It wasn't the affordability, which they were somewhat affordable. It was the fact that no little people, Fisher-Price toy for that matter, required batteries. They were all battery free. So instead of batteries not included, it was batteries not needed. Yeah.
So Molly, I do have the Fisher-Price toilets as well.
the little party people.
You don't want to scratch those.
Oh, my favorite though. Quick sidebar: the X-ray machine. When you put on a little person on it and you press down, the screen moves down and it shows a rib cage.
Oh my god, that's adorable.
DC, let's talk about you for a bit. We talked about little people enough, right? Let's talk about Penn. Let's talk about your new show. Now, it's available on Amazon. Link is in the description, as are all of DC's work. So, DC, tell us about the project. Tell us about Penn.
All right. Well, Penn is a musical that just got published by Stage Rights, and so the licensing is now available. It's a musical I wrote with a composer out here in Chicago named Leo Schwartz. We've done a few musicals together, and this is our latest piece. And it's a musical about a pen pal relationship with a prisoner. And the relationship that develops between this advertising executive, Molly, and this incarcerated prisoner. And then there's also a sort of a subplot of one of his coworkers is planning her wedding, and his ex-boyfriend is trying to get him back, and the two of them are developing feelings that they didn't expect.
Now, how did the collaboration work on that? I mean, writing a musical, as a playwright, writing a musical to me seems daunting.
Yeah.
Right?
Actually, it is.
Fair enough.
Yes,
it's as advertised.
It really is. But actually, Leo and I work really well together. We were working together before I moved out here to Chicago. He lived out here. I was living back in Maryland, and we met like 25 years ago in a chat room. Remember chat rooms?
Yeah.
No.
We were in like a theater chat room, and I was doing a lot of acting then. I just started writing about 7 years ago. And when I started writing, he said, we should do something. And so I was like, I just started. He was like, well, let's do it anyway. So we were looking for an idea, and there's a festival out here. And so we came up with this idea, and I started writing it. and it just wasn't a musical. So we kind of scrapped that. We came up, somebody showed us a magazine article about a guy who had a pen pal in prison. And so I started looking up prison pen pals online and reading up about that. And it just seemed like a really intriguing story to tell. So I would write the book, and I would write like sample lyrics, and sometimes he would use them, and sometimes he would throw them out and rewrite everything. And so we actually we have a synergy.
That's so cool. He sang?
And it's his name is Leo Schwartz. We also we've written 3 musicals together now. One is The Book of Mormon.
The Book of Mormon.
It's about 2 Mormon missionaries that knock on Ethel Merman's door. And
I really wanted them to be mermaids.
yeah, there have been a few productions around the U.S. They're kind of scattered. Penn was literally just showed up as a week or 2 ago. So we're hoping that people will jump on and license it and hopefully someplace close. I won't have to buy a plane ticket.
Well, I mean, luckily theaters are opening back up. It looks like the pandemic is lightening, we hope.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. So hopefully we'll start having theaters start produce shows again. I mean, that'd be nice. If you would like to take a look at the show, you want to produce the show, even better. The link to everything is in the description. And now, let's hear the answer to give me the details. You want to know how he found his numbers? So, according to NPR, what did this North Carolina man do to determine what numbers he was going to play to win the lottery? Well, veteran Gabriel Fierro and his wife ate out at the Red Bull Asian Bistro in Charlotte, North Carolina. And on a whim, he decided to use the numbers on his fortune cookie.
Wow.
Doing so took home $4 million. So, if you have student debt, go get takeout.
Eat Chinese.
And then once you win $4 million, you have enough to pay off your student debt. And then after, maybe enough for like a cup of coffee or a scone at Starbucks.
Chinese takeout.
Hey, Ku Young changed his life.
All right. So currently our points are... I'm in last place with 6 points. Next, we have Molly with 131 points. We have Marie with 165. Nate with 175 and in the lead. We have Randy with 185 points.
85.
185. That's a magic number for improv.
That is a magic number. So
you haven't even shimmied.
At all, right? All right, so join us. Join us when we return for Marie's pop quiz and technically correct right here on Balderdash Academy. Remember to like and subscribe to the video. Also remember that we have options available if you'd like to support the show directly. You can show your school pride by picking up merch from our store. And we are now booking live shows, whether it's this improv head-to-head or our new on-the-air radio comedy theater. Details for everything can be found in the link in the description or at balderdashacademy.com. Good night. Thanks for watching, and go Dashers!
Go Dashers!